yeah. Third one here. Good morning, YouTube. It is Tuesday, January 23rd, I think. I don't know. But had another 3-day weekend, and here we are back at school, ready to get this party started. We had 2 3-day weekends in a row. So that makes 2 short weeks as well. It's actually like a blessing and a not blessing, curse, I guess. I don't know. Short week, like you got to cram a bunch of stuff in there. So even though I love the short week and the long weekend, I have to say that it makes things a little more challenging. For instance, I have to film the news for the school, and usually I like to do that on Mondays and Wednesdays because I have music release time that backs up to recess. So if I go long on the shooting, it doesn't throw me off too badly, and it gives me a chance to do my recess stuff, if you know what I'm saying, teachers. And I know you do. Had to eat. Gotta go to the bathroom, right? We have the most well-trained bladders in any profession, I would have to say. I remember going from the classroom to the DO and working there, and it's like, what do you mean I get to go to the bathroom whenever I want to? It's the little things, guys. It's the little things. So this week and today especially, I'm going to kick off a new writing unit. This is it's a narrative writing, and we're going to be working on let me get the actual standard. Hold on. Okay, so we are going to be working through narrative writing, which is the 3rd standard, and we're going to be working through the 4 substandards throughout the week. So today I'm going to be introducing this writing that I've been doing for quite a long time. So let me tell you about it. 6 years ago, I was at this other school with my friend Chris, and we shared a door. It was really cool. You could open the door between the rooms, and we just became really good friends. And he is a really incredible teacher, very deep thinker, and he tries to get his kids to think along those same lines, like not just real surfacey memorization, procedural kind of stuff. Like, he digs deep with his kids, and I love that. One of the writing assignments that he gave to his kids was called The Moment. Actually, I think I called it The Moment. I don't know what he called it. But this is to really get the kids to think about the details in their writing and to have that come out in their writing. So let me explain this a little bit to you. He has the kids write about this moment, and he goes into great detail about how they should write this. And he differentiates between an event, which is I went on a cruise and got to go snorkeling, to a moment where it is just, you're writing about this moment where you're just about to go under the water when you're scuba diving or snorkeling, and you don't know if you can breathe yet because you've never done this before, but you're about to go under the water with your snorkel sticking out in that moment. So it's all about the moment. And so I started calling it The Moment writing, and I've done it ever since. Today, I'm going to introduce the moment, and it's evolved over the last few years, of course. And I have this video that shows me standing up. So I'm sitting in a chair, and it shows 4 different angles. And I cut this video so that it's one here, one here, one here, one here. And it shows these different camera shots of the same motion where I'm pushing myself back from the desk, putting my hands on the table, and standing up. All right, so that is a moment, right? And we talk about it whole class about what are all of the components that go into this moment? What do I see? What do I feel? I'm touching the desk. What does that feel like? What happens to my muscles when I push out from the desk? What are my feet doing? Everything that's involved in this moment. And the kids, it's really easy for them to grab onto this because it's tangible. They can see it. They can participate fully in everything that's going on in this writing assignment. And so it's called The Moment. I'll share the video that I show them, and it's just six seconds. I might as well just show you right now. Okay, so I just shot that in my classroom last year, and I shot it from these different angles, and then I cut it together, and that is what we use for the moment. All right. It just so happens that Danielle has a writing, not a writing assignment. She has a literacy assignment in her student teaching courses, and this one fits perfectly into what she's trying to do. So she's going to observe today, she's going to teach tomorrow, and then we'll probably co-teach the next day, and then that'll be it for her observation of this thing. Okay, the other thing that's going on right now is we're trying to finish up this area and perimeter unit. Holy moly, I thought it was going to take a week. Here we are in the third week. We have to assess this thing and move on. So hopefully, most of the kids got it, but just like every year, there's always some kids that just don't get it. So what do you do with them? I don't know. We have a lot of support that comes in and helps us, and I'm lucky that I have Danielle and I have Miss Susan in here, and they help out a lot with those kids that are just not getting it. But I hate to move on, but sometimes you just got to move on. Okay, so that is what's happening in class this week. Also, on Wednesday and Thursday, I'm teaching my class at UCI. So I got it all together last weekend. I think it was on Saturday or Friday. And man, it took a long time to design this class. But it's going to be good. It's going to be good, guys. Can't wait. Can't wait to roll it out with them. Some really good stuff. And then I'm really confident that they're going to use this stuff and take it with them into the classrooms that they're doing, because it's something that they can do. I'm giving them some really easy things for them to implement with their class, regardless of what grade level they're in. So K through 12, you could use this lesson. Okay, I got to get going. I got to design some math lessons for this week, and then get ready for today. All right, I'll check in with you later. That's what's happening in Mr. Ann's world. All right, talk to you in a little bit. Hey, what's going on? It's the end of the day. Sorry, I didn't get to shoot much of today and all the learning that happened, but we had so much learning going on today.
It was such a good day across every subject.
Sometimes you want to pat yourself on the back because you're like, man, I was a good teacher today.
You were. It was a great classroom day for learning.
Okay, so this morning we started off with PE, and then we went straight into the moment writing. So give me some reflection on the moment writing lesson today.
It was amazing to see. Do they all know what the moment is?
I think I explained it earlier, but maybe you want to talk about it.
So the kids get to, as a class, watch a snapshot. It's maybe 5 seconds all together of 4 different angles of Darin standing up from a desk. And so they're really watching his feet lift off the ground and his hands push off the table in just different ways. And then their job is to describe, what are they seeing? What do you think he'd feel? The whole process, every detail of the moment.
Yeah.
The name.
Yeah. So, yeah, the name is called the moment writing, and it's where they distinguish between an event and a moment. So, like, some of them we're talking about. Can you think of one that you...
A whole football game or
Okay,
a
yeah.
soccer game.
And instead of the whole game, we want them to talk just about a moment in time where the ball was coming at them. And this is a split second. And all the thoughts that go through their head and what happens to their body when this happens. In that moment where they're clear, it's just them against the goalie, right? And that's what we wanted them to talk about, just the moment.
And it was perfect because we were looking at the literacy writing standard 4.3.
Oh yeah, tell them why we're working on 4.3.
So for my credential program, I need to focus on a literacy task to kind of analyze a specific aspect of student learning. So I was able to choose reading or writing. Together we're like, let's do writing. That's what Mr. N's been focusing on in the class. So we picked narrative writing. And then within narrative writing, we found this really great 4th grade standard that kind of encompasses all these details we've been working on. So the standard talked about being able, there's 4 points. I don't remember the exact standard off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think I talked about it earlier in the day. It's where you establish the scene that you're going to be writing about and
use transition and dialogue and sensory details.
Sensory detail.
So this moment, this is what we need a learning segment of like 3 lessons to cover a standard. So we're doing the moment.
The moment.
The moment, as the kids say.
The moment.
And the kids, it's been amazing. I was blown away. I didn't really know how many would get the whole I'm like, that seems hard. If I was asked to write a page, I was like, Mr. N, you're kidding. You're not going to ask the students to write a page or more on a moment.
I was telling Danielle and the other student teachers that in the past, this project has turned into self-published books where they're talking about just because the vocabulary and the imagery that
some of the ones we've seen.
Yeah, it is remarkable, of what comes out of their heads.
Tender beating heart.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's fabulous. It's a great way to...
And I liked it because I feel like a lot of times when you look at a narrative, it's so easy to get caught up in first, next, then problem, solution. But when he made them stop and focus on just a moment, that's when you really dig deep into details and you really get to see what the kids' creativity, where it leads them.
Yeah. So even within this moment, there are the story details of a beginning, middle, and an end. It's just... when they have to write about a split second or just a few seconds of an event, they really, really have to dig deep and go into those details. It's fun.
It hit the standard to a T. I was like, Darin, can you please help? And we were looking at the standard and we're like, check, check, check. All right, this is going to be a breeze.
It's awesome. We had a great day. We taught some math today.
Yeah, they're prepping for their unit test. And we went over the study guide and really just seeing where their strengths are and needs and kind of how we can help them clear that up.
Yeah, and then we went into social studies and we were talking about the gold rush. And Danielle, we co-taught this thing. She stood in the front and she went through the lesson with them, and then I stood in the back and then interrupted once in a while with questions. And it was pretty fun. It
was really helpful for me to see when he would interject, because looking at the book, I'm still trying to figure out when's a good time to pause and reflect, or maybe really hit upon a certain point. So I found it super beneficial to kind of take self-notes. Oh, that's a really unique spot, or that increases their learning.
Yeah, because there's learning opportunities in everything that you teach, right? In this unit, they talked about how the minors that were coming to California were mostly male. And so right away I'm thinking in my head about this march that just happened and connecting it with, female empowerment and why. We had this discussion about why was it just men that came to gold mine, to mine for gold.
It was amazing. They're 9, 10, and they're like, well, people used to think women were only meant to cook and clean, and they thought men were stronger. And then one really sweet girl was like, but now we know that's not true. We can do anything, and we have rights. And I was like, yes, but if you didn't bring up that learning opportunity, we would have missed that little piece of gold among the unit.
Yeah. I'm always when I'm teaching social studies, I'm always trying to connect it with things that they maybe know about in their heads so that they can...
It's not so abstract and arbitrary. Yeah, it was a good lesson. I was like, how is this going to be exciting? I'm reading from the book, and then bam, it was exciting.
There it is. Yeah, and then they end the day in science lab. So what we did was we took the papers that they wrote, the moment papers, so this is their first draft, and we went through and we identified the sensory details that they had in their writing, and also if they were writing about the moment and not an event. So we distinguished between the two. We said, this is more about an event. I want you to focus in on this one part. And then we if they had good detail in there, we talked about that too. So we scored all these things. We're going to hand them back out tomorrow, and we're going to go through our second draft.
Yeah, it's really nice because for this learning segment, we do it together. Well, he does the lesson, and then we go through and we really look at them. And at the end of it all, for my literacy task, I have to take the end assessment, the formative and the summative, and analyze on my own. And so I'm so lucky to have all this help to kind of see, like, it's self-practice too. Like, okay, this is what I'm going to be looking for in the end. This is what I'm going to need to identify. So it's kind of like the students are learning and I'm learning in parallel.
It was awesome. It was awesome. And, teachers, I know that you, like, if you're like me, you hate to grade writing. It is like the worst thing. I hate, I know,
because
personally.
It's subjective?
It's hard to grade because, anyways, I hate grading writing. But it's so important to give timely feedback, right?
That's like one of the most important things we've learned at UCI. It's like feedback.
Yeah, feedback. And it's hard to give timely feedback. It takes a long time to grade writing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for us to have read through all these things, made comments on every single one of them, and be able to hand them back tomorrow, we're going to give them time to reflect on what we wrote to them. Danielle's going to lead a lesson on transitional words.
Yeah, that was like part C of the standard, so it's perfect. It fits right in with the overall lesson.
And then we're going to send them off on writing their second draft. And so on their second draft, we'll make sure that they're writing about the moment, and then hopefully they'll incorporate more details into this writing, and then they'll make use of transitional words.
Yeah, and I think the closer they get to just talking about a moment, the more details they'll have to use.
I think so.
It's like a double win.
So. Yeah. I mean, it forces you to do that. After that, the next day, hopefully we'll have more comments for them. And their third draft, we're going to be looking for dialogue.
Yeah.
So they're incorporating dialogue into this. And some of you smart people might be thinking, well, if this is like about 3 seconds, how much dialogue could there be? There's inner dialogue.
Right. I just had 2 students today use it. I was blown away. One student said, "Woo, I was so relieved," I thought in my head. I'm like, wow, we haven't even gone over
all
that.
the stuff going on in your head, that's inner dialogue. We want to see that in the writing. So this is it's a cool little writing lesson.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see it. I love writing. I love that part of school. And I'm like, I was taking furious notes. I'm like, this is exactly what he does next, so that one day I can pop up in my little transcript and copy the same thing.
What a good student teacher. Okay, so tomorrow is short day. It's a Wednesday. We're gonna start off with PE and then move into this writing lesson. After the writing lesson, we'll go to recess. They go to music, where we'll PLC during that time. And then after the PLC, we have like a weird little time, and then we go into library, and we almost head home. If you heard that big giant noise, that was Miss Gregg and Miss Gervais. You guys want to come say hi? We got some great lighting going on. I think they like know when we're gonna film, and they're like, let's go, right? Ready? I think they're going right now. Come say hi.
Hello. Hi. Sorry for interrupting.
What did you guys do today?
A lot. In the afternoon, we read an article about...
We're gonna switch places with them.
Oh gosh. Alright. Are you just talking about what you did today?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, so you guys introduce yourselves first.
Okay. Hello, I'm Kirsten Gregg. I teach 4th grade with this guy.
Right over there.
And I'm Riley Gervais. I'm her student teacher.
Riley, you don't mind signing this form, this YouTube release form, do you?
Absolutely.
I already have a signed one from you already, actually. Okay. So tell us what you guys are working on today.
Do you want to start? What did you do today? Because you took over more today.
Yeah, I led the morning meeting, and we talked about perimeter for kind of abnormal rectangles with like kind of missing pieces, and they kind of figured out how to solve that. A common
What's your big takeaway?
Just
from
something like a common misconception that they had and that you really emphasize that they can't do is like scaling. So they would like, oh, well, this size looks like this size, so it must be the same.
We
So
got one kid does the same exact thing. He's like, oh, this is 3, so this is 3 over here. Look
It's
exactly.
not to
Morning
scale.
meeting today.
Oh, you did it?
Morning meeting today. It was
Excellent.
very good.
yeah, so we'll probably do a couple more of
Yes,
those.
we'll definitely keep working on that. In the afternoon, we read an article about the Google Arts and Culture app, which was cool because it's the app that takes your selfie and compares you with a piece of art.
Did you guys do it?
I did it for the kids, but then the whole article was about privacy and how people are not sure what Google's going to do with their images. So I was on the trusting side, and I allowed them to use my picture, but the article kind of showed some differing opinions, so that was really cool.
I got a black dude.
I think mine was kind of close.
Yours was good.
You had a good one.
Yeah, you guys saw mine the other day.
Yeah.
It was
I'm
not
gonna take
bad.
the one where Brandon took Kirsten and my face and like morphed them
Face
together.
fusion,
I'm
yeah.
gonna put that one on there. See what
It's
happens.
scary. It's like Girl Darin. It's
Girl
pretty scary.
If Darin had Kirsten's hair.
Yeah,
Scary stuff.
awesome.
Yeah.
Where are you guys heading
fun
towards
day.
after today? What are you doing?
Well, we'll keep going with the area and perimeter for math, definitely. And then with the article, we didn't quite finish the lesson because we talked about depth and complexity, and so we were annotating it with the different icons. And we started filling out a frame and like determining the main idea, the most important details. So we'll wrap that up tomorrow for our
Did you
morning
do your
work.
observation today?
I did, yeah.
Oh.
She came in.
Did it
so
go well?
That was good. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know, like if there's a bunch of student teachers watching this or teachers in training, like thinking about becoming a teacher, you never stop getting observed.
Yes.
People are in your room all the time looking at what you're doing.
It's true, yeah. And she wants to come back again. She wants to bring induction people to come
cool.
watch some lessons. So, yeah, there's always people in my room and yours
Yeah.
too.
All right. Thanks so much. YouTube, thank you for watching. We'll see you soon.